Welcome to All Indefinitely. Interviews and insights to empower you to achieve personal and professional success through friendships, relationships, and marriage. Here are your hosts, Anwar and Siana.
Hey, thank you for being with us in another episode of All Indefinitely.
Getting myself situated here.
How's your tea today?
Oh, I'm going back to coffee. I'm getting tired of tea now. We're here at the coffee shop here, and you know what we talked about? I was thinking, like, we're in this coffee shop in Miami. What if we went to different coffee shops and invited people to come?
Oh my God, we should do that.
I wanted to have some people like come. Yeah, we could have some live questions going on
and help small businesses too.
That's a good idea too.
Yes.
Yeah. So I would be so interested in that. I'm going to look into that. If you're a coffee shop and you want us to visit,
yeah,
please give me a call.
Let us know. Yeah. We'll go, of course. So we have a very, very good topic, and this is something that I've heard a lot. I want to see what you think about it. And it's staying in a relationship out of fear of starting over.
Yeah.
Right?
That is deep.
Yeah. And if you think about it, I've heard so much like there's like, yeah, you know, it's not working out, but just the thought of starting over is like, oh my, no, like, I don't want to do that, you know?
Yeah. I'm just trying to think right now when you're saying like starting over, like, you're not really starting over. You're just continuing your life, right?
Yeah.
But we feel like it's like starting your whole life over again. You're
exactly.
not starting your life over again.
No.
Or you know, I get that. I get that a lot because a lot of people feel like I have to start over.
Yeah.
I tell you what I have had before. I've never felt that, by the way, of starting over. Like, that's never been a boundary for me. What I've always wanted to do, and this is like I go in and out of this, right? Is I've always wanted children. I'm 41 years old now.
Yeah.
I'm pretty old.
Yeah.
Well, I feel very young, but like, you know, I'm like, for having children, I know there's a lot of people saying, "Hey, 40, you're not that old." I mean, okay, fine. Yeah. But I'm having children, you know, I can't wait. If I ever do, I'm not sure yet. But I remember, like, you know, you're invested in a long-term relationship. You get to the point where you're ready to have children and settle down with that. And then all of a sudden it doesn't work out. And now you have to go and look for someone all over again. And I remember one time I was, as you know, I'm a real estate broker as well.
Yeah.
And I was talking to another agent who was, I was selling a condo in Miami. And an agent came in, and we were just talking while her client was looking at the condo, and she was so successful. She had so much success in her career, but she only had, it was just her. It was just her, and she was in her 60s. I'm guesstimating.
Yeah.
Right. She looked great, but you can tell she was older. And she says that I just take care of my mom. That's it. And I we just started talking, and I was saying, you know, I didn't have, you know, children or anything. I'm single. And she's like, and I said, you know, maybe maybe this was like 2-3 years ago. And I was like, I don't know if I'm going to have children. And she's like, no, don't say that. Trust me. I should have had children. I had like one opportunity when I was like in my late 30s. I never had children. And now I'm taking care of my very, very sick mom.
Yeah. And
once she dies, it'll just be me.
Yeah.
And I have no one here. And, I really, really regret that. So the idea of starting over for me was the idea of the daunting task of having to find someone that to have children with.
Right.
But I like a lot of people, this is not their number one worry when they're starting over. A lot of times people think when they're starting over is that they have developed a life of comfort and partnership.
Yeah.
And now they have to start all over again and find someone. Yes. Do you believe that way?
I don't think so. I don't think that's ever happened to me, but I don't want to, you know, but no, like, in fact, I don't feel like I'm okay with that. If I see it as an opportunity for, you know, growing. I was watching a video a couple of days ago of somebody who was saying that, like, yeah, like if I, you know, my relationship ends, I will cry. I will feel, you know, sad. But then I know that what comes after that, it's such an amazing woman who learned so much from that, that I'm excited to see that. And I think I feel that way because after my last relationship ended, I felt so sad that the woman that I became after that, I absolutely love her.
Yeah.
So I can only imagine the woman that would come after, if I ever break up with Peter, the woman that will come up after that. I think I'm going to love her even more if that's possible.
I talk to a lot of couples, and, I coach. I'm a marriage coach.
Yeah.
And I coach a lot of couples. And the one thing that I get a lot of times is that people feel like if it doesn't last forever, then they wasted their time. Like, if it doesn't last for the rest of my life and I've been with this person for 20 years, then I've wasted 20 years.
Yeah, no.
And I don't agree with that. I don't feel like that 20 years should be a waste. Remember all in on this show, all relationships are indefinite. They're an unspecified amount of time. All your friendships, all your relationships, and even your marriages, they're for an unspecified amount of time. And it's for you to get the good out of it. And then knowing that, and then you continue to grow as a person and individual after that. But I definitely get the feeling of, and that's the kind of fear, right?
Yeah.
And when I started writing my book and I started talking to a lot of people about this, people would say, well, you're going to grow old alone, or you're going to what's going to become of your life? I don't think that's a factor.
No.
But if you're a good person, good people want to be around you.
Absolutely.
Whether you have a license or not, whether you're married or not. And, eventually, if one spouse dies, you're definitely, I was watching the movie, what was this movie by Nicholas Sparks? The one where I can't remember the name of the movie right now. It'll come to me. And I think that the ideal scenario for a lot of people in this fantasy world is that you live your whole life in a loving marriage. You absolutely love your husband absolutely loves you. And then you have children and grandchildren, and then you get to your point somewhere in your 90s, and you guys both die at the same exact time or around the same exact time. That is the kind of like love story.
Yes.
Right? I don't believe that. I mean, I don't see where it happens. Is that like eventually, when I look at relationships and I look at marriages, that's not how the end of days really play out.
No,
it's kind of like it's not it never plays out like the movies do. But the other thing to know about is the inability to take care of yourself or to handle life by yourself. The fear of the unknown. I think this is what this topic really represents.
Yes.
It's kind of like, all right, I'm with this person and my life is miserable and I'm unhappy in a marriage or boyfriend-girlfriend relationship because he pays half the bills or she pays half the bills and helps out. And I don't know if I can enjoy life without this person because I don't know if I can make it on my own.
Yeah.
That's a terrible situation to be in.
It is, yes.
If you're used to having someone there all the time and then the other person isn't there, I mean, then you have to start over.
Yeah. And you get used to a certain lifestyle and, you don't want to lose that. Yeah. But that's awful. Yes. And I think that we can always make it. And it doesn't have to be on your own. Most of the time it's not on our own. Like we find friends, we find family. Like that happened to me. Like I thought, oh my God, I'm on my own. And then I found amazing friends who helped me. And I found my family who was around, and I would take them for granted when I shouldn't. And it was a great lesson. So that's why I'm saying that like there shouldn't be any fear of starting over because that's a lesson. That's another lesson.
Yeah, but we say this in theory, but in practice, it's very difficult, though.
I'm giving you practical examples that happened to me.
Yeah, but isn't it difficult for someone like the average? I wouldn't say the average, but someone is listening that, very family oriented, has 3 children.
Yeah.
Has a wife or a husband, and has developed a life with children and family and everything, and are completely miserable there.
Yeah.
And want to move on. But then the idea of starting over and getting back to that perfect family is very daunting.
Yeah.
What happens to them?
I think that then you have to weigh the factors and see what's going on in your life and whether it is worth it for you to stay there, And we are smart animals, and we find a way to make things work out. And I've seen great co-parents, and they have an amazing family, and the kids live a happy life when the parents are not together. And sometimes it's even better, because it is better to have parents that, happy parents and who are actually enjoying life with you, than having parents who are always arguing or, having problems around you. So I'm not a specialist. I don't know anything about this, but I will definitely think that a kid will be happier in a happy environment, rather than having his or her parents together and always arguing.
I can speak from experience.
Yeah.
I mean, I could tell you
Me
right now, my
too.
parents argued all the time. When I grew up, and I grew up in Liberty City here in Miami, which is not the best of neighborhoods, I would say. And nobody that I went, it was very rare to find someone that I went to school. I went to Charles Drew Elementary and Charles R. Drew Middle School. Those are inner city schools here in Miami. And none of my friends, almost all of them, single parent families, single parent households. It was very common. And even in my own, I had both my parents at that time. Yeah. And I was the oddball out, like I'm dual income, both parents' family. And then, but there was a lot of arguing. There was a lot of fighting in my parents, but they stayed together because, they wanted to keep a house and to keep this persona up. And, my mom and my dad didn't want to start over. But when they finally got a divorce, I was extremely happy.
Yes,
I was extremely relieved. And one thing I want to tell you about children, and that I know because of myself and the people that I've seen growing up, is that children are very resilient. They will adapt and change to whatever best suits the scenario. Yeah. I don't think, there's a lot of people that says that dual parenting is better than single parenting. And I agree with that. Yeah. But that does not mean both have to be married in this family. They just have to both be parents. They just have to be both accessible. So that's that one side there. But, this whole notion that you have to start over is a limitation. Yes. It really is, because your life doesn't start over. No. You're born and one day you're going to die. Yeah. And all along the way, you have lessons and different times and chapters of your story. Yeah. And one time one chapter closes and another one opens, but the book continues. Exactly. You just keep going with it. And you have the experiences that you acquired at time, during that time. So it's not even like starting over. You know better now. And even if, let's say it was your first relationship and you learned from that, now you're not going to make the same mistakes again. And then you will also accept that when the relationship is over, when you achieved divorce. Yeah, I was talking to a couple recently about that. And I will tell you, I don't want to mention her name. I was just about to mention her name. I don't want to do that. But what I was saying is that obviously you're not going to be in a relationship with someone forever. It's not going to happen forever. But when you're focusing on your personal growth, your space, and you set the rules for your relationship. Yeah, I think everybody has their own rules for a relationship. You would assume that having a sexual experience with someone else in a marriage while you're married is a very negative thing. Yes. But in some people, it's very fine. It's okay. It's okay. Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of swingers and different communities out there, and they make it work. Yeah. So no judgment there. I think what happens is if you set your boundaries and you do this well in the beginning, or some things that you hold as ideal, and you guys explain yourself well in the beginning, then the best thing that can happen to you is, and I don't want to say the best thing, a better scenario that happened to you is someone breaks the rules, like someone cheats on you, someone beats you up or something. I'm not saying that that's a good thing, that's a bad thing, but at least it's very easy to know that that's the end of the relationship. Yeah, that you've achieved divorce. Yeah, first time someone cheats on you, all right, I don't even need to read your phone. I don't need to hire anybody. That was the rule, and you broke it. Yeah. Good luck to you. I want the best for you. Yeah. Goodbye. That's ideally how it should happen. But in the sense where if you have somebody that you start off having great moments with and great time with, and no one hurts each other physically or emotionally, and there's no cheating spouse. There's just a point where they've burnt out the personal growth that they have with each other.
Yeah.
And you get to the point where there's no more flourishing left. That's a very difficult thing. See, it's easier to know when you have gotten all from your relationship and and it's time to move on. It's easier to know that if someone breaks the rules, those specified or unspecified rules in the beginning. That's easy. But if you just keep going long enough and you stay around with someone and you get to this point, there's routine, it's kind of like, and then small arguments, small insignificant things turn into like bigger arguments and bigger fighting and bickering. It's so hard to say, well, this is the end. This is the ending point.
Yeah.
That's why I was saying, like, of course, don't cheat on anybody. Don't hit anybody. Don't do anything wrong. I mean, try to do as best good you can do for yourself. But if somebody does that to you, although the world is not fair, it's still a way of knowing that now my time with that person is done.
Yeah, should be
not
like
starting
that.
over. It's just time is done. If in the absence of that, and there's someone is just going along, and your relationship is just burning out, and there's nothing, there's it's very difficult to know that where the end lies. That's all I was trying to say. So I'm not sure, like the fear of starting over should not be, in an ideal world, something that you should have a fear over.
No, on the contrary, it's a new beginning. You should be excited about it.
Well, absolutely. Yeah. That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Every end is a new beginning.
Yeah.
And if one thing I've noticed about the human spirit is that we're natural explorers.
Yeah.
We want to see things. Now, how to go about doing that is very difficult to know. Sometimes you don't know how to explore yourself and how to explore, especially if you've been engineered to kind of like be dependent upon somebody else.
Yeah.
But I mean, once you explore yourself and explore your thoughts and you can learn, I think it's a very good thing.
Imagine the things that you could discover by just making that, decision and taking that first step on your own. You can even discover a new self, like it's great.
Oh yeah.
It is great.
I was reading Anthony Bourdain, which is he's an amazing writer. He's one of my favorite writers. He's on my bookshelf. And he started his first marriage ended. He was 44 when he wrote his book. He became very successful, got a divorce, and started over. And he had a rough time starting over. In fact, he writes about it in his second, I think it's called Medium Raw. And he writes about his experience of starting over and how reckless it was in the beginning, because he was kind of like, he was a little more aimless than a lot of people, but very honest writer. And but look at all he became. Look at all that he did after that. He's like, he had one life, and then that whole life was complete, and then he started a new life.
Yeah,
as a world traveler, and you never know what your future can hold.
Exactly. Absolutely. So we have a question from Mike. And Mike says that I've been with my wife for over 10 years. Naturally, we fight often or nothing unusual. It's gotten to the point that I don't feel like we have much in common anymore and that we're happy at all. But I'm 50 years old and I don't want to start over. So I'm guessing we're not happy at all. Yeah. I have tried counseling and I have tried vacation. Nothing seems to work. But I can't shake the fact that leaving would mean I would be all alone with no one to celebrate, with no one to share time, with just simple and alone. What should I do to either regain the fire in my relationship or to start over in the right way?
Yeah, I see where he made that error.
Yeah.
Just simple and alone. Okay. Right. So what should I do to either regain the fire in my relationship or to start over in the right way? What do you think?
Well, he says that they have tried counseling and vacation and nothing seems to work. So if you ask me, I think they have achieved divorce. And Mike, that's so great. You just have a new opportunity in your life.
Yeah, I mean, but it's got to be difficult for him because you know what, like when you're used to spending time with someone all the time for Christmas, I know your difficulty, Mike. I get it. I understand. It's like you want someone to celebrate Valentine's with, and you want someone to like hug on your birthday, and you want someone to like go to sleep with every night, and you want someone to celebrate Christmas with. All of these things are very, very important. You know what? When it comes time to, I was married on New Year's Day, and you know the New Year's days for the next 3 years after that were not very good New Year's days, because you kind of like you're by yourself, and you're thinking like, man, I didn't have this. I have this sense of emptiness,
Right.
and I think that's what Mike is talking about. Like, he's trying to make fire happen in his relationship. He's going to counseling. He went on vacations. I see that, but he can't make it work. There's nothing. It's not sparking up there.
Yeah.
So it's difficult. But it's also, I mean, God, it feels so good to have someone to hug on your birthday, doesn't it?
I
Or
mean,
to
it does,
like-
but when it's a person you really want to hug on your birthday,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, I think that at the point where Mike is, or it seems like, it's just going to get worse. And it gets to the point where you don't even like that person anymore.
Yeah.
And somebody who you've loved for over 10 years, she's been his wife for over 10 years. You don't want to feel that way, towards that person. You want to like love and have good memories with that person for the rest of your life, because those 10 years you want to cherish. So I don't see any reason why Mike, I mean, I understand how he feels, but I don't see any reason why he should fear the new beginning, because that's just great.
Yeah,
You
I
know?
know. Well, I know it's difficult. But you definitely should start over, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, in this idea of starting over, like I said, your life never starts over. You decide that you have the power over your life. Now, the thing is, what you're experiencing, and what I was experiencing, and a lot of people I talk to experience, is the fact that you're dependent upon someone else to have a sense of joy and feeling in
Yes.
life. And the more you do that, the more you depend on someone else, the more empty your life is going to be without anything. But what starting over in this case could mean is that you take control over your own life, and you say, I may not have anyone to hug on my birthday, and it may not feel good, but I'm going to hug myself. And that's
Yeah.
all I have, and that's all I need. And I may not have anyone to celebrate Valentine's Day with, but I love myself, and that's all I have, and that's all I need. And you see what this boils down to, Sienna, is this boils down to having a relationship.
Yeah.
You know, people, this is a fact that love heals a lot.
Yeah.
Like, having love in your life is it's a powerful feeling. You heal from sicknesses faster. You live life better. I mean, this is a good feeling.
Yes.
But really, what that means is not that. It's really, because I've looked into it. It's really having a relationship that matters, and you can have that relationship with yourself.
Yeah.
I've seen monks. I was listening to Sadhguru recently talk about this. Having a relationship is what's important. Having one with yourself or having one with others. I like having relationships that matter.
Yeah.
I think they feel good. They're part of my growth and part of my flourishing. But the more dependent you are on a person to provide something for you, the less flourishing your life can be.
Exactly.
So be careful who you give your power to. I mean, Mike, I think you should definitely. This is not about starting over. This is about regaining and learning from yourself, and not having to ask someone to provide something for you, like someone to hug or someone to hold. Is to know that, to look in the mirror and love the person that you are, and allow and want your love for the other person should be for your wife of 10 years. Is you should tell her, I love you and I want you to have the best life. We don't have any fire here anymore. We've tried everything. I'm going to just go out there and I'm going to find a way to make my life up to me, and have that focus be yourself, not on anyone else anymore. Don't give that power away. Try to keep it yourself the best you can.
Yeah, you might discover things that you didn't even think you would like. I was thinking, as you were talking about Valentine's Day, you can go out and you will find people who feel also that they don't have anybody else, and you can hug that person, like how many times have you met somebody in a bar and make friends with them, and all of a sudden when you're leaving, hey buddy, bye, I'll see you, and you hug him, so it's not the same type of hug. I understand what you were saying, but you can find, and then you can meet new people, people who are willing to do new things with you, or like you will have more things in common than you have now with your 10-year spouse. Like,
yeah, I wanted to add something too, because I think that the fallacy in people like Mike, what holds him back is that you get that first initial hit of happiness for the first several years of your marriage and in a relationship, and it's love and it's happiness.
Yeah,
and that's a powerful feeling.
Yeah,
and you just don't want it to end.
No,
you want it to always feel good.
Yeah.
I don't think that life is all about happiness, right? I mean, happiness, we skew towards happiness because it feels good, but it's not what it's all about.
No, it isn't.
It's about enjoying all of the emotions of life. Like loneliness is very important to get to know yourself better, to be lonely. And I know I talk about it in my book. If you're lonely, don't just call someone up and try to be with them on Valentine's Day or Christmas or whatever day that you're feeling the most loneliness.
Yeah.
Take that time to write down what are some things that you always wanted to start, that you never did before. Maybe it's skiing.
Yeah.
Maybe it's painting. Maybe it's cooking. Whatever you wanted to do, write those lists down. Write down those things when you're by yourself and say, these are some things I wanted to accomplish, and start doing those things. And if like, let's say, for example, you wanted to start a jogging or a bike riding community, and you're like, you know what, I'm lonely right now, but I've always wanted to do like bike riding when I see those groups of people. Let me research one and do one. And in those groups, you're going to meet people, and you're going to meet people that also, like to do the same things you do. And so you start with the loneliness factor. You wish you had someone there, but you're not calling them right away. You're searching your soul for something that you want to do, and you start doing those things. And remember, you're doing your own activities that you always wanted to do, and you're meeting other people that also are doing those things, and you'll find similarities, and you'll find inspiration. And you start sharing time with people that have similar things with you, and you can keep growing in those different fields. But life isn't all about like, I'm just happy one day, I'm just going to always be happy. No, it's about understanding the emotions, like things that get you angry, things that get you sad, appreciating all those things. Just like you appreciate happiness, appreciate sadness, appreciate the loneliness, appreciate all these feelings that are very important to you. And don't be afraid of the unknown. Don't be fearful or even be afraid, but do it anyway. You know, find a way to say, you love your wife very much. You should want her to have the best possible life that she can have. And that's the best way to love someone.
Yeah, totally true. I hope this was helpful, Mike.
I really do too. I mean, I get this a lot because I get a lot of people get to this point in their life. They're like, they don't know how to start over. They don't know how to think about them, especially parents. Yeah. Parents that, like my mom, who, she doesn't know how. For the longest, all her life, all she did was be the most amazing mom in the world. Yeah. And I talked to her about like what she wants to do. And I know she likes to travel, and and I try to do everything with her that she can to try to like live out her best fantasies and aspirations and dreams. But, ultimately, she has to take hold of that and kind of do it on her own too. And let me tell you, she's 66 years old, 67, sorry. And she has to start taking the control of that and just start doing those things on her own, and just really being in control of her own independence, right, and not relying on other people. And she is, by the way, she's great. Yeah. And I'm talking like thinking about Mike here when I think about that, and I'm like, I know what you're going through, because you're so used to just doing one thing with one other person, and it's so difficult for you to like understand how to be selfish in a good way. And I always talk about selfish is a good thing, because you're loving yourself, and always want the best for other people. Yeah. But to love yourself and understand that it's up to you.
Yeah. So I think that's it for today.
Yeah, we're at our time. We're trying to keep our shows at 30 minutes. So thank you guys for listening. Just a quick thanks to our sponsor, American Worldwide Academy. If you know anyone that needs help getting their high school diploma or online career training certificate, go to careerhighschool.com or call 305-456-5948.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
You've been listening to All Indefinitely. Help us spread the word by subscribing and sharing the show.